Hello, future residents of the United States. This video is going to be specifically for teachers who are in their home countries and want to work in the US and maybe have applied to a job but not gotten hired. What can you do to make yourself a better applicant, make yourself stand out? We're mainly going to talk about problems that people keep doing and repeating without even knowing it, and a mindset shift that you need to make when coming to the US. So who am I? I am an international teacher recruiter. I've placed hundreds of teachers in the US. So I have seen people who stand out in interviews, people who do really well in the transition to the US, and people who do not get hired at all, people who do not do very well in the US. So that's why I started this channel, to give you that insight. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so the first piece of advice I can give you is that while life in the US is going to be very different from what you're used to at home, interviewing in the US can be very different as well. And I have placed people from all over the world in the US and from different continents, different countries. But one thing I noticed, especially with applicants from Kenya, we had a big presence in Kenya, is that people would have these outstanding resumes. Some people even had PhDs, so much experience, but they just did not know how to interview with an American interviewer. And it's no fault of their own, it's just a very different culture. So the company I work for, we started doing these boot camps where we would teach people about interviewing with a US interviewer and skills, tips, everything you would need once you get to the US. So one big thing, and this is mainly for my boot camp people, is apply what you are taught. I know a lot of people in the Philippines and India, training is huge too. So if you go to one of these training seminars, apply what they teach you. Don't just, copy and paste what they tell you to do and hope for the best. The best teachers we have are people who are coachable and adaptable. And you can say you're coachable and adaptable in an interview, but people can find out really quickly if that's an attribute that you actually have or not, and if that's true or not. So one of our teachers, he's in North Carolina right now, he told me he came to one interview, did not do well. And then the second time before that, he came to a boot camp and he said, I went home and I told my family, I've got it now. If I ever get the chance to interview again, I know what I did wrong and I've got it. That is an example of someone who is coachable and adaptable, someone who can apply what he learned and actually take that feedback and not just regurgitate that information. He took what we told him and used it to his benefit. People can tell in an interview if you're coachable or not, or if you're just saying those things to say them. So another mistake people make is they only apply for one job or one agency. I had a lady tell me yesterday, oh, I'm so frustrated. I've been patient. I've been applying to jobs and I'm not getting one. I said, how many jobs did you apply to? And she applied to our agency and one more. That's only 2. If I were to tell my friends, oh, I've been so patient, I've been applying to jobs, no one's hiring me, and they're like, oh, how many jobs have you applied for? And I say, I've applied to 2. That's crazy. You need to apply everywhere and constantly be improving yourself as you're applying. If you've done multiple interviews and you're still not getting hired, especially if you came to one of our boot camps, maybe you did a training session somewhere else. I can't speak to other companies because I have no idea what their trainings are. You're doing something wrong. The problem is you. So that doesn't mean it can't be fixed, but it means if you're doing multiple interviews and you're using the same responses, you're putting in the same energy, something you're doing is wrong. So you need to go back to your notes, reevaluate what you're doing, maybe even film yourself. Give yourself a mock interview, film your responses, go back and look at them and say, all right, how can I improve this? What would someone in the US be looking for in a teacher? And how can I convey that in my interview? What can I change about myself, my teaching styles, to make sure that I am not only hired, but successful once I get there? Because remember, getting the job is easy. Staying here can be difficult. I have people that I know who got fired 1 week after they started working here. So please go back and look inside yourself, look internally and think, what am I doing wrong? Because something is not working. So go back and figure that out and really practice. Keep practicing and try to apply everything you've learned and put that into your responses and also your teaching in the classroom at home. So the last tip I'm going to give you today is to not be desperate. Just like in the dating world, if someone is so desperate and they're like, oh, please pick me, you think to yourself, ew, why do I want you? Nobody else wants you. Why would I want you? It's the same thing in an interview. If you are so desperate and you have so much desperate energy, that comes across to the person interviewing you, and then they think to themselves, what's wrong with this person that nobody else is hiring them and they're just acting so desperate? So this happens a lot, actually, in interviews, a lot more than you would think, is people, they're almost begging and pleading for the job. You never want to do that because you at least want to make it look like you have options. You're confident within yourself. You know that, okay, if I don't get this job, that's okay because I know there's another opportunity waiting for me. You truly have to believe that. There's nothing you can really say or do unless you really believe that for you to not give off this desperate energy. The last thing I'll say is please take the things that you are taught. I'm hoping that if you are actually watching this video to this point and you follow me, you are doing a lot of research. Like I mentioned earlier, people in the US want someone coachable and adaptable. And that is not only because are they thinking about you in a professional sense, they're also thinking how well will this person integrate into the community. And yesterday, the company I work for, we had a boot camp in Kenya, and we brought someone from a school district to do some interviews because that school district needs some teachers. And beforehand, the man interviewing from that district did a little presentation about what he's looking for in a teacher that he would hire and bring to the US. And, naturally, these are things like someone who's coachable, adaptable, someone who wants to learn. And he said he interviewed someone and the man did okay. He said he was a little kind of desperate, a little begging, but it was fine. And he said, I really did consider him, but then what I saw him do is I saw him sit outside the entire rest of the day. He never once went back into the boot camp. So from his point of view, he's thinking, if this man is telling me, oh, I'm willing to learn, I'm coachable, I'm adaptable, yet he didn't even go back in to finish the rest of the training, he was just there for the interview, that tells me that he's just telling me what I want to hear instead of being honest with me and being who he is. And of course, if you are honest and you say, oh, I just came for the interview, I'm not really interested in the training, you're not going to get hired. But you don't waste your time and you don't waste their time. If you pretend like you're this, it's very easy to see if you're not. And the interviewer, the man from the school district, noticed this. I didn't notice this. No one from my team noticed this. That was he himself. So do you think that person got hired? No, absolutely not. So biggest advice I can give you is actually be coachable and adaptable. Look inward. See, what am I doing wrong? If I've been to multiple interviews and I'm not getting hired at all, there's something I'm doing wrong. So how can I improve myself? And it's not something that you need to beat yourself up over. It's feedback, and feedback is always good because you can say, all right, something I'm doing is not right. How can I fix it? And don't be super desperate in the interview. Don't beg. Don't hound the interviewer down trying to get an interview with them. Don't do any of that. It will severely backfire on you. So I hope this video helped you out, and if you know anybody else this video can help, please send it to them and like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.